Thank you very much. So, yes, the camera will get the back of your heads, but unfortunately it'll get the front of my face. So. But we'll have a lot of fun tonight. And of course, if there's questions at any time, feel free to interrupt me. I like being interrupted. That means at least you're awake. And I look forward to having some discussion as we go through tonight. Before I do the formal presentation of who I am, I'm going to give you the core of the message, because then after that you can go to sleep if you want. So, what we're talking about tonight. So, business it's not about your product. It's not about your service. It's not about what you do, but it's about what you do for people. And that's what we're going to be talking tonight too. To give you a different vocabulary to express what you do, what you offer, so that you start attracting people who recognize the value of what you have to offer, and also attract those people who are ready to buy. I'm sure you all want more clients, right? Raise your hand if you want more clients. Okay, great. So almost everybody wants more clients. Those who don't want more clients, talk to me afterwards. Maybe I'll take some of your clients. But that's what we want to do in business, is we want to speak to people to attract the right kind of people. And so we're going to develop a customer-focused language. And if there's one thing to remember tonight, one thing, people don't want your products and your services. They want the change your products and services can create for them. They don't want what you offer. They want the impact of what you offer. So now that I've said that, good night. It's all done. Thank you very much. Those that come late, too bad. I'll just let you all set up. Make sure if you've just arrived that you have a place to write, because there'll be some writing exercises for tonight. So this is the core message. I'm going to leave it up for a moment so that you can absorb it. Because the first exercise we're going to do is I'd like to give you a chance to present yourself. So when the spirit moves you, just stand up and share your name, the name of your business, and what is the value or the change. I don't care what you do. What I'd like to hear is share with us what is the value, the change, or the impact that you create for your clients. So your name, the name of your company or your business, and the impact or the change you create for your customers. Who wants to try out first? Yes. Yes, please.
Hi, I'm Christina Roberts. For Your Vitality is my business, and I provide structured change management for people to optimize their well-being.
And how does that impact them? What's the change in their life?
They get to live their best life.
Super. Thank you very much. That's what I want to hear. It's not what you do, it's what is the change that you create. Who else wants to try? Roberto.
Hi, I'm Roberto. My business is YES International. It's a business-to-business service. We allow companies to communicate internationally, translating their messages, their media, their content in more than 50 languages. What they get more is they have the possibility to talk to billions of people instead of millions.
I like that. Talk to billions of people instead of millions. That's a nice change, isn't it? Who else wants to try? Yes. Yes, please.
My name is Sonia DeMolo. My company is called Harvest Performance. I'm a global performance leadership strategist. And the sort of the promise statement that I have is cultivate trust and collaboration.
And what does that allow them to do when they have more trust and collaboration?
That's a good question. So I guess it depends on the company, but generally high employee engagement, high customer engagement, those sorts of things.
That's great. Yeah, and we're going to talk specifically about the difference when you're talking to consumers and when you're talking to business. It's not a different language, but the emphasis is on a different impact, different type of impact. Very good. Sonia?
Yes.
Yes. Thanks, Sonia. Who else? Yes.
My name is Philip Metawasis. I'm currently, changing careers. I used to do social media marketing. but now I'm in the startup stages of starting my second business being a high performance coach. And that's all I have right now.
And what's imagine that anything is possible. What is the big change or the impact you'd like to create for your clients as a high performance coach?
I want to focus on their mental health, so
Okay.
they can have like a stronger mindset, and also on their helping build their habits. So
That's great, yeah. And so you're helping them build their habits. That's a positive change that people want. Yes.
My name is Ami. I'm doing their IT services in my business. And the changes that I do for people is save their money and time.
Save their money and time. That's a great start. And especially for business to business, that becomes the core of what they're looking for. And so sometimes we have to go one step further. So saving money or making more money so that they can blank. And we'll work on what that ultimate impact is. Well done. Anybody else? Yes.
I'm Martin Akini, founder of Refine Pro. And what we do is we help company to leverage external data, so any data not created within the company. And with our method and structure, we help them reduce the cost, so long-term maintenance cost, so they can access data that was not possible before.
Great. So they can get insights, they can access data that wasn't possible before. I like that you're reducing their operating costs, and that's often what businesses are looking for. They're looking more for survival, and consumers, individuals, are looking more for how they can live better, especially live better than their neighbor. And we'll explore that tonight and how to language that. And so it's not me. Okay. Anybody else would like to give it a shot? Yes.
My name is Mark DeLorme. I work for a company called Servidel, and we help businesses reach out to their customer base and communicate with them effectively.
So that they can?
So that these people or these businesses, mostly all businesses, so that they can portray like their ideas or their business to their main client base. Okay.
Yeah, that's a good start. So, and we'll work on that tonight so it becomes a little more clear and a little more impactful, but it's a great start. So, and that's a way of sort of asking yourself that question is, I help them do this so that they can blank. And it's that blank that we're going to look at tonight. What's that change, that value? Anybody else? Going once? Yes.
Hi, this is Julie. So I started this consulting firm called Company. I'll do something very similar to what you're doing right now. So
Take lots of notes.
yeah, the change is actually showing that it's possible to create whatever idea they have in their mind. Or that's the change I would like to bring in.
Okay, and what will be the impact of being able to realize any idea they have in their mind?
It's a higher confidence, I guess.
Okay, so develop more confidence, develop more leadership, things like that.
Yeah.
Great. And it's the answer also will also depend who you're speaking to. So we will work on a first answer that you can provide when people ask you, what do you do? So you'll be able to answer in a way that has more power to it. And at the same time, you'll learn how to vary your vocabulary so that you're finding what resonates with people, with the person that you're speaking with. All right. Now, why listen to me? So, as I mentioned, my name is Davender Gupta. And I like to think that my big impact is I spark a moment of truth in entrepreneurs. A moment of truth that allows them to change and go beyond who they are right now. I've worked with technology startups and small businesses of all kinds across Canada, in Calgary, Toronto, Montreal, and Quebec City, and other smaller towns around Quebec for over 17 years now. And I started a technology pre-accelerator in Quebec City called Fast Track. So helping technology startups define their idea, and get ready to get their first round of investment and start to get into the market. Of course, I'm going to toot my own horn. I was voted Canada's top 10 rockstar mentor by Futurepreneur Canada and Startup Canada. And this kind of interaction is a lot of what I do, because even companies that are more mature, we still have to go back to the basics. There's still too many companies, too many businesses are too product focused, and it makes sense because that's what they do all day. They're building their product or their service. And so a lot of what I'm doing is I'm helping them see beyond. And with my colleague Sovita Chander, who will lead the second part of this series, we've created an event called Strategy Fest, and that's what we're wanting to do. I call myself a venture strategist, and Sovita is a marketing strategist. And so a strategist is helping people make better decisions as they go out into the world and realize what they're doing. So what we're talking about here is what I do every day in my own business. Because if somebody asks me, what do I do? And I say, oh, I'm a venture strategist, it means nothing to them. So, yes?
What's the biggest difference between a small business and a tech startup?
Well, in the work that I'm doing, I'm focusing a lot on high growth potential. And so that's the biggest difference, is a technology startup from the beginning, the business model is set up for fast growth. The growth of the team, growth of the market, growth of revenue. And a small business has a different priority set to it, and it's more about sustainability, long term of the business. And so it's really interesting, but there are a lot of things in common, but then there are some strategy, some decisions that you make on the way that change. And so there are technology companies who are small business, and you have small businesses that try and go the fast growth route. So it's all about how you decide what step you're going to take next. So this is what we're going to talk about tonight. What is a business? Finding the right place, right time, right fit. The business model canvas. So the picture that you have in front of you with the 9 boxes, we'll go through very quickly just for those who have never seen it before. And we're going to focus on the value proposition. We're going to talk about the job to be done. Who's heard that expression, the job's to be done? At the end of the night, I hope it's going to become just a natural way of speaking. And how does your offer fit the need of your customers? And then finally, your takeaway tonight is going to be a value proposition statement. So your answer to whenever somebody asks you, what do you do? Sounds good?
Sounds good.
You're all in? Excellent, excellent. So let's start with, what is a business? Now this is my way of looking at a business. And when I started business coaching way back in 2000, this was one of the first models that came to me in talking to a lot of small business owners. And a business is a system. So, and to me this is really important, it's a system. So there's a structure to it. There's a strategy to it. To create value, to deliver value, and to capture value. So you're creating value by offering something. You're delivering it when it's being delivered and your customer is consuming it or receiving it. And then in return, there's an exchange of value. And this becomes important because you want to find out, where is the value being created? And so if I look at a business between 2 people, okay, a solo entrepreneur. So I'm offering my services to a customer. Now, why am I offering the services that I'm offering? Well, I'm offering something that's in alignment with my ideas, my passions, my needs, my desires, my skills, my experience, my background. And my client, on their end, my client has also, they want to fulfill their ideas, their passion, their goals, their mission, their interests and their dreams. So there is an offer and there is a want. And in between, we're exchanging resources. So I'm offering them my product, my skills, my time, and they are returning to me. So they are giving back to me their money, their attention, their interest, their loyalty. So there's an exchange taking place. Now, that exchange is the value. But we want to make sure that that value is the right value. If I'm offering something and it doesn't match what people want, what happens is I'm here in the no need. There's no demand. So I can have the greatest service, I can have the greatest widget, but if I'm not finding those people, if I'm not exchanging with people who are looking for what I have to offer, there's no need. So this is what we call, is there a problem-solution fit? And so if I'm offering a solution to their problem, but it doesn't, what I'm offering as a solution doesn't meet their problem, it can be the greatest solution, but there's no need. So my company falls apart. On the other hand, I might promise something and that fits exactly what people are looking for, and it's in alignment with what I want to do, but I don't have the resources to carry it out. Like if I say, oh, I'm going to help each of you become multimillionaires. At the end of the week, you're all going to have $10 million in your bank account. And I know how to do it, and I have the tools to be able to do it. But the problem is, I'm overpromising. I don't have the means. There's not enough time, there's not enough people, there's not enough tools to be able to deliver that. So I'm overpromising. And that's a big problem too with startups and small businesses, is that we have a tendency to overpromise. We don't have the resources. So there's no exchange that can take place. Another issue that happens is there's a demand, so people want stuff. And I may even have the skills or the abilities to deliver it. Like in my background, I spent 15 years doing computer programming and software development. And so I have a strong background in that. And sometimes companies come and ask me, are you interested in taking charge as a project manager of a software project? Now I have the skills to do it, I have the experience to do it, and I know how to do it. But I have no energy. I have no passion to do it. It's not what I want to do now. So what happens is I would start delivering that service, but then after a while I sort of lose interest and it sort of peters out. And that doesn't work either. So I want to find what is the right match between what I'm passionate about offering, what my customers are passionate about receiving, and with the right balance of resources, time, money, energy, loyalty, attention, so that I'm in the value zone. This is what you want to find tonight. So what is the value zone? And to know that value zone, I need to first know what I want to be doing. And second, I need to really understand what people want. And I have to be aware of what are the resources that I'm offering. 1, 2, 3 gets into the value zone. Questions, comments about this? Does it make sense? Are you in the value zone right now?
Almost there.
Okay, and so are you too much in the, there's no need, no energy, or no means?
Trying to find the right crowd.
Yes, so often it's hesitating between these two. Things that you know people need and that you know you can deliver, but you're not really passionate about delivering it. You'll do it for the money, but often that's not a good enough answer. And that's what you have to sort of figure out. So, and it's sort of interesting. So now when I have opportunities that come my way, I sort of look at it here and say, okay, where does it fit? Am I in the value zone? And these are always changing too. This is never static. This evolves, this changes over time. So a business is a system to create value, deliver value, and capture value. Create, deliver, and capture. Well, so, given this, your goal is to solve an important problem or satisfy a strong desire, a problem or a desire, to make a tangible and measurable difference in your customer's life. And when I work with entrepreneurs, the question I ask, how are you making your customer's life 10 times better? Is how does what you're doing, what you're offering, making things 10 times better for them? And if you're not able to answer that question, you haven't found that problem-solution fit yet. 10 times better. And especially nowadays, because everybody and their dog is offering stuff. Everybody's in business. Everybody has a side gig or a main gig, or is trying to launch a gig. And so competition is huge, and people's attention is all over the place. So you have to have a value proposition that calls out to a very specific type of person in such a way that you're making their life 10 times better. We'll have some fun tonight exploring that. Okay, true or false? My offer is for everyone.
False.
False. Why is this false?
No, you have the energy to do this.
Okay, yeah, you can.
Resources.
Yeah, you can, lack of resources, lack of passion.
Well,
What else?
sometimes you have two businesses that are kind of like conflicting. Let's say someone who's vegan and someone who's a meat lover. They can't be selling the same thing, right?
That's true. Everybody has different interests. Okay. So your answer so far is false. Okay. Keep note of that. Don't peek in the handouts. Next one. Once people see or use what I have to offer, my product or my service, they're going to buy it right away.
False.
False. Why is that false?
Might not be up to their standards or exactly what they're looking for.
Exactly. And we don't know what their standards are. And everybody's standards are different. Okay. Well, we'll see. Let's put a pin in that and let's see. Third one. Everybody's looking for what I have to offer. The demand is huge. $1 billion market. Maybe. Maybe. It's so true. How many people say this is true? You're catching on to my...
A certain percentage.
A certain percent. Okay, it's a certain percentage. All right. All right. And now the fourth. People will buy from me because I'm better than the competition. No? Why not? I'm better.
Well, they don't know that yet, right? I mean,
Well, that's it. So you've guessed it. They're all false. Because it's always the exceptions. And the problem is, most people don't care. Nobody wakes up in the morning, or very rarely wakes up in the morning, and says, oh man, I've got to hire somebody because I need help in developing my habits. Or I need to hire somebody or something, or I need to buy something, except if it's the latest iPhone. People wake up and want to buy the latest iPhone. But still, most people don't. Most people are either they hate it or they're neutral. And when I see these business model canvases or business plans, and they say there's 5 million people in the Greater Montreal area and in Western Quebec, and we're going to get 10% of the market. Well, in reality, if you look at any kind of population, this percentage who are actively looking and who might love it, it's not 1%, it's not 10%, it's a fraction of 1%. It's a fraction of 1%. And your job is to figure out who these people are. And they're not walking around with signs saying, I'm looking for this. That would be so easy, wouldn't it? But there are clues. There are clues. And I believe it's in the languaging. And that's why I find it so important to talk about the value proposition. And what I'm doing in the value proposition, I'm trying to figure out which words will trigger people, will trigger their curiosity. Because in the buying process, there's a trigger moment. So something, and that's part of what the job of advertising is all about, is to trigger that desire, that yes, I need it now, I need it now. And it's done through usually words, and words that trigger emotions. Because people decide with their emotions, and then they justify it with their reasons. But the decision itself is always made through emotions that are triggered through the kinds of words that you use. So by answering the question, what do you do, by explaining what do you do, it doesn't trigger emotions. That's how come it doesn't work. And that's why the value proposition, talking about the value that you create, what's the change that you create, that is more likely to trigger emotions that will get people to love what you have to offer. So most people really don't care. That's a good thing to keep in mind. All right, so we're going to do a little exercise right now. This first exercise. So who do you want to serve? You have a paper in front of you. I'll give you a couple of minutes and describe your perfect customer. Mr. or Ms. Moneybags, who loves what you have to offer and is willing to pay whatever price you say. Describe that person. And here are some things. Who are they? What do they do? Where do they live? How old are they? What's their education? Where do they work? So have 5 or 6 descriptors of who they are. So I'll give you 2 minutes, and then we'll come back. Do you have 4 or 5 descriptors? All right, what I invite you to do now is to be in groups of 2 or 3, so the people are sitting beside you. And I'll give you 2 minutes per person. So basically, it's an opportunity to do some brainstorming with your partner to try and make that list a little bit longer. So briefly explain what your offer is and who you're looking for, and help each other add a couple of answers to the perfect customer to the list, okay? And I'll keep time for you. I'll let you know every 2 minutes to change to the next person, okay? So the goal is to, at the end, you want to have about 10 descriptors of your perfect customer, and questions that go beyond just what are here. All right, start talking. help the other person. 2 minutes have passed, and which partners? 2 minutes have passed, which partners? You're going to answer, Sean? Change partners. You're in a group of 3 change partners. Your attention, please. Your attention, please. Okay. I'm curious to know, who would like to share who is their perfect customer? What's the portrait that you've created for your perfect customer? Who would like, yes?
Okay, so I wrote down entrepreneurs. I would like to work with entrepreneurs, athletes, managers, directors, and CEOs. They're business owners that are constantly under pressure or in stressful situations where they have to perform.
Mm-hmm.
The 80s, I wrote down about 25 to 50 years old.
Mm-hmm.
They aspire to be better, like, personally and professionally.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote down where it is. It's like in the cities, maybe like small to medium-sized towns as well.
Yeah, and I encourage you in the description to be as precise as possible, so you can say they live in Bel Air, or they live in Montebello, or they live in downtown in a condo, or they live in Westmount in a big house, or they live on a plane. Another thing I would suggest too, you were saying old. Something that's really important. What's the difference in a mindset between a 25-year-old and a 50-year-old? So I encourage you to really think about getting as focused as possible, and this exercise is what we call creating not a profile, but a
Persona.
a persona. Yes, thank you. Creating a persona. So, and the more precise you can get your persona, almost to the point where you can see a person. And in the course I did at MIT, the persona were actual real people. So the idea was to not just imagine somebody, but to go out and talk and actually find people and then describe that person's life. Yes? Okay, sorry. Yes.
So I guess I did it wrong.
Okay.
Because I was doing a company profile.
Okay.
Like a nonprofit, and I answered these questions, but it wasn't one person in particular. So
Let's start off with, okay, share how you described it, to see if we can imagine that company.
okay, so it's a global nonprofit who needs funding,
Mm-hmm.
who wants to inspire and bring courage to their clients
Yes.
that lack social media engagement and do not have a sponsorship campaign.
Okay. What would be the size of this nonprofit? And if you don't know, you get to choose.
Right.
So you get to
Not
choose.
very big.
Okay, great,
But I
yes.
don't know what, that's not very good. I know.
Well, okay, yeah, and in the research you'll find out a bit more. Would these be nonprofits that are more locally based or more that are global?
Global.
Okay. And what kind of areas are they involved in?
Well, so I have a company that I'm working on right now.
Yes.
So there is social entrepreneurship, for example.
Great, great. And that's a good way of thinking it in terms of, okay, let's look at one of my customers right now and use that as the starting point of a persona. And then in a business, going deeper into this, it's to look at who is the decider, who is the person who signs the checks, and you do this exercise for that. Who are the people who are going to be using or who I'll be working with? Who are people who can block? And so, and that's where then you move from the business to having people. The goal is always, in the end, to find people.
So in this case, would it be like the CEO?
Yes.
Yes.
Or the chairman of the board.
Okay.
Like,
Which happens to be the same person.
yes, in smaller ones that will be, but in larger ones, they might be two different people. And you might want to go in through the board, or you might want to go in through the volunteer coordinator, or depending, or the fundraising person.
Well, in this case, it was a community manager.
Yeah. So that's another way. So describing who that community manager. No, and that's the challenge of working with the business is you have to do a few more steps, and that's why the business model canvas then, when you're working with a business, you end up not just doing one, you have to do one for each person. So that's where we're going with this. Anybody else would like to share? Yes? Let's try it.
My name is Anna. My company is Aroma Energy, and I'm producing natural cosmetic products. So who are my customers? And I'm going to take one product because I guess for every product there are different customers. So my product is a wrinkle cream here. Those are people who take care of their health. They're reading labels. People, maybe they have some health issue. They change their food for healthier options, and now they're ready to change their cosmetics for healthier options.
Good.
Those are 30 years and up. They live in West Island houses. They're educated. They're moms that they have kids and they don't have care. They don't have too much time for them, so they have to start take care of themselves. And what they keep them at night, they think about health and environment and good health for their kids.
That's a great start. And something else I would suggest adding is, where do they hang out during the day? Do they go to a cafe? Which cafe? Or where do they shop for their groceries and things like that? And to get really a picture. And the beauty of this is when it gets detailed enough, it's like now you start recognizing people by how they fit into your persona. You can tell right away if they're in that love category. So it's like if people started walking around with billboards. And so a lot of the work, especially as you're getting into the market and you're starting to look for your first customers, is trying to figure out who these people are and where they hang out, and so that you can be where they hang out, either online or physically or mentally. And this is a big piece that Sovita is going to do in the second part of this series about finding your first customer. So strategies on how to go deeper in that. So does everybody have at least one idea right now, like a target that they want to work with tonight to try and figure out the value proposition statement for that person? We're ready to go? Super. All right. Now, as we mentioned, we need to figure out what their needs. So we're trying to figure out, there was the diagram, the Venn diagram with the three bubbles. we're going to look now at the right-hand bubble. What are their needs? How many of you recognize the Maslow's pyramid of needs? It's a pretty well-known psychological tool. It's as good as it is as good, but it's an easy way to start making some order in everybody's needs. And there are different models, but I sort of like this one because there are 3 main areas. So there's some models will have 7 levels, some have 6, some have 5. But there's 3 main areas, and the bottom is always, we're looking to survive. What do we need to survive? Water, food, shelter, security, safety, money. That's survival. And if I'm having trouble surviving, it's hard for me to start thinking of higher level needs. And then the middle is sort of, how do I belong? So love and belonging, esteem from others, how do I fit with my social circle and things like that. And at the top, it's how I feel about myself. So it becomes a lot easier for me to self-actualize if I'm not worried about where I get my next meal. And it's sort of heartbreaking seeing what's happening right now in places like in Puerto Rico, where so many people are like, they may have been in this level and now they're brought back down here. They're just trying to figure out how they're going to eat, how they're going to drink, and their safety. So I would not necessarily go in and try and sell, cosmetic products and things like that to those people right now. That's an extreme example. But it becomes, when there's not this match, this problem-solution fit, it's because there's a mismatch between the benefit that we are promising and where it fits in their hierarchy of needs in the moment. And this shifts. When people get their paycheck, they're thinking more about this, they're not thinking about this. If they are 3 days away from the paycheck and there's nothing left in the bank account, they're not too interested in buying. So this keeps on shifting. But becoming aware, just by observing people, to start to figure out where they're at in their hierarchy of needs. Questions or comments about this? Yes.
So how about this maximum in North America? It was very strange for me, but fake it until you make it. So let's say your business you just started and you cannot pay some main things, but your self-esteem is high and you think you're going to bring good value to the market. So you fake it until you make it.
And what happens sometimes, now there's the question, is this really not, are these needs being sufficient or it just, they might not be optimal, but I'm eating enough, I have enough cans left over that I can make it. And so I can focus on higher up. And the danger I find is that sometimes it's transparent. People can tell if you're just faking it and you really don't have this stuff here. And I see this a lot in personal development, in coaching, and things like that, that really, to be a personal coach takes a lot of energy. I've taken 2 years off. I'm just getting back into the scheme of things because I was burnt out. After 15 years, I was completely burnt out. And I found that I was trying to pretend I was here, but this stuff was missing for me. So I decided to take 2 years off and sort of refine myself, and now I'm getting slowly back in. And now I have the energy to be back up here because this stuff is full again. So I don't like this fake it till you make it, positive psychology, go, 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 because I find it sort of empty sometimes. So yeah, and that's why when you're in business, you also have to take care of yourself first. You have to sleep properly, you have to eat properly, you have to take care of yourself physically, because going out there day after day after day and receiving all these no's, all this pushback, takes a lot of energy. Great question.
I do have.
Yes.
If you have, we have a business to business. Does this apply in any way? Because we don't really deal with a person, we deal with a company. So Can we apply this at the company level or?
Oof, what is a company? It's a group of people. So I believe yes. I believe yes. And that's what we're going to look at in a moment.
And same with like a company can be brought to court, right? It's like almost like its own entity.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say yes to.
Like imagine Sears Canada right now. How many of you know about what's just happening with Sears? They've gone into bankruptcy. So is this the right time to offer workplace wellness at Sears? No, they're struggling just to survive. You know, and so yes, and that is sort of the fundamental realization of the value proposition process that we're doing here is treating companies as people and treating people as people. Yes.
Just one more question. When to say no? Back to your original three. When you're trying, I have limited resources.
Yes.
And I always get stuck on this because when I look at my actual customer demographic, it's broad. But then when I go through these exercises, I narrow it down, and then all of a sudden, Joe Blow comes out of the left wing and says, Christina, I'd like to work with you. And it takes a lot of effort for me and more research and everything else, and that fear of economic insecurity or whatever sometimes will drive me, even though I have my base needs met. And I really have to ground myself sometimes and just say, no. Is that okay?
Yes, because where I don't want to end up is here and here, where I don't have the passion, so I'm not doing my best job, because either I don't have enough resources or it's just not what I want to be doing, or the no means. I definitely don't want to get stuck there. I lost basically $250,000 in my first startup because of that. We were over-promising. We had the beautiful solution. In 1999, those of you who are old enough, remember there was this panic that the world was going to come to an end because all the computers were going to stop? Well, at that time, we sold computer software to insurance companies. And so the world, like everybody was throwing money at this. All these companies were scared. If I go back here, they were scared of survival. All the insurance companies were sure that on January 1st at midnight and 1, that their computers would stop working. And so we had this amazing offer for them to rebuild their systems and things like that. And we started signing on clients, but we didn't have enough people, we didn't have enough time, and more importantly of all, our stuff didn't work. But we signed these people on, but we should have said no. We really should have said no, and we really should have focused on a very specific profile. But money was going left and right and left and right. And we were down here too. We wanted to survive too. You know, we needed, because we were hiring people and our money needs were getting more and more and more. And so, yeah, I lost $250,000 because I wasn't able to say no. So yes, it's really, really important to be able to judge where you are. That's why those 3 circles, I encourage you to put it up on the wall and ask yourself, now, is it worth my sanity? Is it worth my safety and my survival to go after this just for the money? And so, and it's a hard decision to say no. And I've said no sometimes and I've regretted it. I've said yes sometimes and I've regretted it. So.
Where does sanity go?
I would say it's sort of like it's here. Yeah. So basically this. Yeah. I would say that safety security. That I feel okay. Yeah. I'm confident. I can walk in and say, yeah, it's not easy. There's work that has to be done, and it's going to be long days and things like that. But I'm feeling good about my choice to take this on. What are they trying to sell here?
Features.
Say again?
Features.
Features? Features about what? Car, yeah. The safety's automatically built into the new car. So what are they trying to do here? Where do they fit in that pyramid? What level are they trying to fit at?
Security.
There's safety and security, and what else?
Love and belong.
Yeah, because you can see all the people that are in the car. They're talking about, they're talking to the brain. Look at all of these features. The instrument panel lighting, the hot water heater, the brakes. We have good brakes. The engine's up front. You know, so they're trying to explain what they're offering. And what happens in that case is it hits up against the brain filter. There's too much information here. Is your marketing like this? Is your website like this? You know, so keep in mind, people make a decision with their emotions and they justify it with their reasoning. How about this? What are they trying to sell here? Cool, but what else? What else? Freedom?
Fun, just
Fun? Why is this grayed out?
Because it's topless.
It's topless, so they're selling sex. They're selling desirability. What kind of brakes are on this thing? Who cares? Exactly. So who are they, like who is Volkswagen aiming for in this message? Younger drivers, and where does it fit on here?
Esteem from others.
Esteem from others, yes. That's a big motivator. And I encourage you, next time when you're watching the DVR recordings of your favorite show, don't go through don't fast forward the ads. Play this little game and start asking yourself, what is this ad trying to reach in the Maslow's pyramid? And it's interesting, if you're looking at CNN, during the daytime in CNN, I work from home sometimes and I have CNN going on. And what do I hear? What do you hear on those shows? A lot of pills for this and pills for that, cure for bottled this. And it's like, I'm thinking, yeah, I should go see my doctor because I probably have something. So during the day, they're focusing maybe more down here, but at night, what are they focusing on? They're focusing on food. They're focusing on cars. They're focusing on clothes, on cell phones. So more about here. So it's a fun game. And that's how I learned my marketing language. By working through these and sort of being aware of what are people trying to sell me and at what level in the Maslow's hierarchy are they trying to reach me at. Okay, last example, and it's a good timing for this. Who's hungry right now? Yeah, a couple of people are hungry. I know I'm hungry. I want a burger, okay? So let's say you want to go out for a burger. Are you going to go to the Keg or McDonald's? It depends. It depends on what? It depends on income. Yeah, it depends on money. What else? Distance, so location, convenience.
Or your food, your diet.
Your diet.
How much time you have?
How much? That's a big one. How much time?
People who are with me.
Yes, who's with me? So, in both of these cases, I'll walk out of the joint. I'll walk out of the joint full in different time periods and with a different experience. So, what you're doing, this goes back to that core message. People don't care about your products and services. This is a burger here, this is a burger here. But what they really care about is the experience, is the change, is the impact in their life. So you won't see the keg clown walking around. And the same thing at McDonald's, although they're trying to change. McDonald's is trying to portray themselves with McCafe and the new design as being a place where you hang out. But I'm sorry. And the smell there, I want to get in, get my burger, scarf it down and leave. You know, the McDonald's will never be the Keg. And so why are they spending their time and money and energy trying to reinvent themselves? I think they're missing the point. But then it becomes another really fascinating way of looking at the world. And I encourage you to do that, to have this curiosity. So, okay, I'm seeing this place. What is the message they're trying to send to me? And where does it fit in the hierarchy of needs? It's a really fun game. So, to sort of sum it up, these are two very, very general points of view. There's always exceptions, but in general, when you're speaking to consumers, consumers want to maximize their gain. They want to be accepted. They want to be even envied by others. They want things simpler. They want less effort. They want to have more fun. They want to be stronger, faster, smarter, richer, sexier than the next. So with consumers, in your messaging, what you're doing is you're tending to go higher up on the hierarchy of needs, and people are willing to pay more for the hierarchy of needs. So, for example, if I'm really, really hungry, I'm not going to pay a lot. I'm going to I just want to satisfy my hunger, so I'll go to a McDonald's, I'll pay my $10, and I might splurge on the fancy burger, but it's just $10, I'm in and out, and it's there. So I'm meeting needs that are more basic. But if I'm going to the keg, I'm willing to pay more and have the whole experience. So the higher you aim for in their needs, towards love and esteem from others and self-esteem, people are willing to pay more. So although we are being trained as consumers, it's all about saving money, it really isn't. That's a trick. So, and you'll learn, so ask yourself, what's the trick they're trying to play? It never is about saving money for consumers, because that's not what drives us, at least those in the middle class. But businesses, they want to get rid of pain. Businesses are all about survival. So they want to reduce costs. They want to reduce risk. They want to reduce waste. They want to stay out of jail. They want to avoid fines. They want to increase their income so they can survive and they can pay their shareholders and their debts. They want to eliminate the competition so there's no risk that another company will knock them off of where they are in the market. So with businesses, the lower you go, you aim for in the Maslow's hierarchy towards safety and security, the more they're willing to pay. And this, for those, especially those of us that are in like leadership development and coaching and those kinds of things, that's a big problem. Because as a coach, what do we try to do in terms of selling to a business? Well, hire us and your employees will be happier and they'll be more productive. But businesses don't care about happy employees. They should. They really should, but they don't. That's just the way businesses are wired. Because they're measured every quarter on what? The bottom line. How much money they've made, how much money they've kept. So that's why for me, my positioning now, after trying to get in and being involved more in helping the executive teams make better decisions and things like that and be smarter and be more efficient, I'm saying, no, it's all about, what I'm saying is, my goal is to reduce your risk as you're entering new markets or as you're going through mergers and acquisitions. So I'm focusing on reducing risk because that's the big expense in a business. So as you're looking at your target customer now, how does things change now with these two ideas? What impact does that have on the description of your customer? Any ideas, suggestions? Yes.
What's fun, so like I'm in the B2B market. What's funny is, like the company will be like looking at reducing risk and cost. But the person who's buying within the company might be looking to improve self-esteem and actually like learning new things and leverage new technology. So
that's it. And that's the challenge of selling into businesses, is that you have to understand what's driving the person you're trying to reach, and they're trying to get more status. They're trying to get more self-actualization, and you're helping, by helping them achieve the business's goal of survival, they end up farther ahead. Once you're able to find the magic words to be able to communicate that, then you're able to sell into businesses, and nothing will stop you. So you're totally right. People want to go up. Businesses want to focus on staying alive. And so learning how to talk those two languages. Any other comments? Yes?
I heard once somebody said, customer buy for themselves, businesses buy for their bosses.
Yes.
So this is what the person who is between you and the sales or is the one we have to target, even inside a corporation or a business.
And so I'm helping the person that has the buying decision, I'm helping that person help their business, help their boss succeed by reducing risk or increasing the bottom line. And that will help the person making the decision go get the next promotion. Jill Conrath, I think is the name of the author, Selling to Companies, something like that. I might have the title wrong, but Conrath, Konrath. And Savita might mention it next time also. All right. This means, so you're looking at those two things. Basically, you're looking for the confluence of three things in trying to explain your value. The right place, so that problem solution fit, the right time, and the right fit. Right place, right time, right fit. And these three things are always changing. So you have to always be putting out words, messages. So your status updates on LinkedIn and on Facebook and on Twitter and Pinterest and all of that. The articles that you post on your blog, the handouts that you give, the marketing that you do. You're tossing words out there, and you're trying to find people, that subset of 0.01%, who are at the right place, the right time, and the right fit to say yes. And we can go really deep into these, but this will give you a bit of an idea to start off with. So you have a copy of the Business Model Canvas in front of you. So who has never seen this before, the Business Model Canvas? Okay, so I'll just go very quickly. So basically what this is all about is how you create value. So your customer is responding to a value proposition, and you're creating value through that value proposition, which you're delivering to your customer. You're developing your customer base, so keep and grow your customer base, which generates revenue. So create, deliver, and capture value. And on this side, the activities, resources, partners, and costs to execute your business model. That's all I'm going to say about it, but I wanted, yes?
I have a question. In your opinion, what is the difference between the lean model Canva as opposed to the business model Canva?
They're different perspectives, but in the end, it comes back to the value proposition.
Mm-hmm. That's the center, right?
That's the center. And they call it a unique selling proposition or something, USP or something like that.
Yeah, they have problem solutions.
Yeah, and that's what this value proposition is. This is what we're going to focus on tonight. So you started to define your customer segment. And what we want to figure out tonight is the right time, right place, right fit with your value proposition. So we're going to build a value proposition statement. So there's variations on the canvas, but these two, the ideas are in common with all of them. So the value proposition, 4 points. And we're going to work. We're going to get into teams now and work these things. So first, what's the job to be done? Job to be done. Second, what is the gain of completing the job? Third, what is the pain of not completing the job? And then finally, what triggers them to take action now? So this is what we're going to ask each other. And this becomes how you build value propositions. What is the job that my customer needs to get done right now? What is the gain if they complete it? What's the pain that if they don't complete it? And finally, what's going to get them to move to action? So I'm going to go ahead to this slide, which is jobs to be done. And this is a really important phrase. I mean, you're going to hear it more and more, especially if you read marketing stuff, because it's an idea that's really come to the fore right now. So customers are looking to change their lives in a small way or in a big way. And if they're not looking to change their lives, they're not a customer. Makes sense. If they're happy with the way things are, they're not your customers, so forget about them. You're looking for people who want to solve a problem, fulfill a desire, satisfy a need, or complete a task. So they have this motivation to do something. So what do they want to change, and why do they want to change it? So that's the question I put to you now. So take a look. I'll give you like 2-3 minutes for you to jot on a piece of paper, taking a look at your persona that you've created. What is a job related to your area of interest? So something you're trying to figure out what's in that center of the 3 circles. So what is a job? A task, a problem, a desire, a need that's important to them and important to you that they are able to satisfy it. So think of a couple of things. I'll give you 2 minutes and then we'll go into a little discussion. So just think of, and just it'd be like 2 or 3 short phrases. What's a job they're trying to do, a problem they're trying to solve, related to how you want to help them? Does everybody have at least a couple? What are some of the jobs to be done? Just say them out loud.
Finding an item that they can't really get anywhere else.
Super. That's a perfect example. What else? Job to be done. Yes?
Get competition pricing data.
Get that data, competition pricing data. Yes.
Stay ahead of others.
Stay ahead of others, so that competitive intelligence, things like that. What else? Yes. Attract new customers. Yes, that's a very important job to be done.
Not appearing on search engines online.
Say again?
Not appearing on search engines.
Yes, yeah, and so they want to appear and they're not appearing right now. So that's a problem that needs to be solved.
Completing a project on time?
Yes, excellent. So does everybody have at least one job to be done that's sort of like phrased that way? You've phrased that in precisely the right way. So problems to be solved, a desire to be fulfilled, a need to satisfy, or a task to complete. So, is this a job to be done? How many of you have this exact situation waiting for them when they get home? Okay, so you can imagine that there are gains to be made by completing it, right? If this is clean, how do I feel? I feel good. It's done. It's over. I have underwear tomorrow. Yay! So what's encouraging completion? So these could be emotional reasons, financial reasons, or functional reasons. So emotional reasons for getting laundry done are what? That, yeah, I feel good. I have clean clothes. Functional is I have underwear. And financial, I don't have to go and buy underwear tomorrow. You know, so gains for completing. But pains for not completing if I don't do my laundry tonight, what happens? I have no one, sorry, I have to wear old underwear, or I have to wear my swim trunks. Also, what else is blocking completion? So I won't feel good about myself because it's dragging on. It's been dragging on for 4 days, 5 days. So with picking one of the jobs to be done that you've listed, any one, list what are some gains for completing that job and what are some pains for not completing that job. And you can look at financial, emotional, or functional. Any questions? I'll give you 2 minutes to just think of some gains and some pains. Have at least 2 gains and 2 pains for that job to be done. Does everybody have a couple of gains, a couple of pains? So maybe just share just to see how we're at right now. Who would like to share the job to be done and 1 or 2 gains and 1 or 2 pains? As an example. Yes?
Okay, our job would be to reduce waste.
Yes.
In environmental basis. And the gain would be like, you feel like you're saving the world in a way.
Yeah.
So that's an emotional gain. And then the other one would be to save money because you're reusing a product versus buying multiple products. And then I realized my gains were kind of the opposites of my gains.
Yes.
Your intention, you feel bad if you keep on using a product that you're already have, you feel like you're hurting the world. And then the other one would be you're spending more money.
Yes.
Over time.
Yeah, and that's okay if sometimes it looks like a mirror. That's okay, and sometimes it'll give you ideas of how to go beyond. You had a suggestion here?
Yeah, I'm sure align your daily habits to match their values.
Okay.
So from that, they feel generally more satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
Pain, just continued pressure to balance work life or whatever stressors they have.
Very good. Yeah, and it's that the emotions that come up with that you might want to add to that, like there's regret or there's guilt that they're not able to match that. So the pain really is descriptions of emotions here, and you can get as raw as that these are emotions and costs and disadvantages, and these are what they win. So this is the value proposition canvas, and so everybody has a copy. This is on the recto side is the detailed part with a whole bunch of questions. I believe the original PDF is available. Or if not, you can contact me and I'll email it to you too. This is open source, so and you can find it on the web if you type value proposition canvas, and it's a big thing. That's come it's written really, really small, and that's why we have the easy version for people who need glasses like me. And so what I encourage you to do is on the circle side. So the circle side is your person, is your customer, is your persona. So write down the customer job, so the job to be done that you've chosen, and a couple of gains and a couple of pains. So just write it directly on this piece of paper. It should just take a moment. So in the circle, the job to be done, gains and pains.
Just read the same ones that you just...
Yeah, just copy over the same ones. And what you'll see, this becomes a quick and easy tool you can use to figure out value propositions. And the little boxes that you see, these are like when I work with clients, we do this on a whiteboard or on a wall, and we put Post-its. And I love working with Post-its. I sort of missed that tonight. There's no Post-its here. I should have brought my big box. The Post-its are the greatest. They meet a need. They allow me to get my job done, and because I can move things around, and they don't cost very much. So it becomes a way of sort of looking at what are people looking for. And what is the win for them to get things done or to experience what you want them to experience? Okay, so everybody has it written in the circle? Super. Now we're going to move to your offer. And we'll take a few more minutes on this. So you know what you want to do. Okay, so for example, what's one of the examples of a business again? I'd like to somebody volunteer their business. So yours? Say again?
Natural cosmetics.
Natural cosmetics, super. Okay. So you have your offer now. So now we're looking at this side only, the box is your offer. And that's why there's a little gift in the middle. This icon represents what you're offering, the value that you're offering. So it offers their benefits, and they're also benefits which enhance the gains, and benefits which alleviate the pains. So take a moment and list what are some of the gain creators and the pain relievers that you offer through your solution. So how does your solution, how does your product or service enhance the gains that you've just listed or alleviate the pains you've just listed? Yes. So, what, for example?
I think my gains would be gain creators.
Yeah, that's it.
I would just have the same thing.
Okay, so what is the gain for them to complete their job? Let's take one of those.
Increase funding.
So increased funding. And so what's one of the benefits? Increased funding.
If it's the same, it's okay.
It could be the same, and it could be increased funding faster, or and eventually you can put numbers to it.
Okay.
You know, or get them to start the process. You know, maybe they don't go through the whole fundraising process with you, but yeah, and it could be a direct match.
Yeah.
And at a first level, that's fine. That's a direct match. So what are some of the benefits of your offer that either increase gains or alleviate pains? Just say them out loud.
Increase global exposure.
Increase global exposure. What else? And this, you get to toot your own horn here. You get to tell us how great your products are.
A proven template to follow.
Yes. And so how does that help a gain or alleviate a pain?
Also the gain will be to feel confident.
To feel more confident, yes. So you can write, the gain creator would be a proven template to follow so they feel more confident. Yes. Another example that you want, if you want to test? Okay, but you start to see the where this fits now. So you have customer job. So the customer's trying to get a job done. There are gains for completing the job, pains for not. And then your offer has advantages that help them amplify their gains or alleviate their pains. Now, this is where we're going to take a leap of faith now. In your best judgment of how you know your customers, or how you'd like to imagine your customers, pick one of what you've written here as gain creators or pain relievers that you feel is the most important for the customer. Just pick one. Everybody has one? That's what you put here. That's your value proposition. value propositions are gain creators or pain relievers. They're not the features of your product. You're not trying to sell a 1960 Falcon to say, we have brakes. Who cares? I know all cars have brakes. But what do these brakes do? They keep me safer. So you're selling safety. You're not selling brakes. You're selling confidence. You're not selling a coaching program. Nobody buys a coaching program. They want to buy confidence. They want to buy efficiency, effectiveness. And these are gain creators or pain relievers. So what are some of the value propositions that you've chosen? Just you can say them out loud, yes.
I have not missing on social and professional opportunities on social media.
Yeah, so that no more fear of missing out.
Yeah, because I'm focusing on aging population, so 50 and more.
Yes.
So I'm thinking people in retirement age
Yes.
feel that they're left out. They don't know what to do anymore with computers.
So how can you? So if you're focusing on individuals, how can you flip that to be higher up in the value pyramid? So the fear of missing out helps them feel, and the self-esteem comes from they feel included, they feel confident, feel included. So that's the language. So there might be parts. So you're no longer missing out on social media on what's happening. So this helps you feel more confident or included or hip. You know, old people like me, old people, we use still the word hip. So, because we want to have hips. Okay, what is another value proposition that came out of this?
I stole yours. Increase funding faster.
Super. That's great. That's a value proposition.
Do you need to finalize it, like in order to feel confident, in order to?
That will help, and that's the last piece that we're going to do now. I just want to make sure you have that core gain creator or pain reliever.
Did anybody share a pain reliever? Because I'm curious what example.
Who has a pain reliever, especially business to business? Yes.
Avoid costly mistakes.
Perfect. That's the. And I like the way you put the word mistakes. It's not just reducing costs. It's that businesses want to avoid waste. They want to avoid mistakes.
I do the same, reworking,
Avoid reworking and redoing, repeating.
Saving time, would that be a gain or pain?
It all depends. So you're talking about businesses?
Yeah.
So saving time,
Help them save time, for instance, in a given operational process.
which allows them to be
More profitable.
more profitable, exactly, to increase their margins by reducing costs. So usually when you're talking to business, if you can put the word margins, increase margins, reduce risk, optimize costs, it sounds formulaic, but then if you can back it up, but those are what businesses are looking for, no matter what you're offering. The whole idea, for example, of these delivery services that bring lunch to work, what are they doing?
Saving time.
They're saving time, exactly. They're keeping people in the office so that they're more productive. They don't lose the focus during lunchtime by leaving. Maybe not the best thing for the entrepreneurs, except if it's a really good lunch like we had yesterday. That's great. From, what was the place again? It was Titanic, Montreal. Oh, it was amazing. So yes, it was worth staying in the office for that. Sorry if I get off on these tangents. It's 8 o'clock and I am hungry. All right, so you're considering your offer. And that's what I love about that little icon. Your offer, your value proposition is the gift. It's the gift of more time, the gift of less risk, the gift of feeling more confident, the gift of being more productive, the gift of being connected to the family. What is your gift that you're giving? That's your value proposition. And it should resonate with the person who you're targeting, should resonate in that way that they feel it's a gift that's making their life 10 times better. All right. So now you have your value proposition, your gain creator or pain reliever. We're going to now create, this is the gift I'm giving to you tonight. Your value proposition statement. Your answer to the question, so what do you do? So that next time you go to a networking event, you know how to answer. It's very formulaic, very simple. So we, or I, you choose an action verb, and usually the action verb I decided at the end when I see how the rest sort of works out. But basically it's we action verb, your specific target customers, or something that distinguishes, so you made that persona a few slides ago. So something from there that really illustrates the kind of customer you're going for, who wants or needs the job to be done in order to, what was the value proposition, the gain creator or pain reliever? Who's ready to jump right in and say their sentence right now? You have all the pieces. You have all the pieces. Yes. Okay, just see how it sounds.
We at Alchemy help entrepreneurs start their business to help them through a proven template to help them feel more confident.
Okay, I would be more specific, not just help entrepreneurs, but what stage are they at? Or what vertical are they in? So try again.
Startup entrepreneurs.
Startup entrepreneurs, and be even more precise. Is there an area that you'd love them to be in? Pick one, and if you don't know, pick one for that day.
Well, in my case, it's a lot more like entrepreneurs are actually towards purpose more than profit.
So purpose-driven entrepreneurs?
Or value-driven?
Or value-driven entrepreneurs? No, so something like that. So it gives me more of a descriptor. Okay, that's a great first run. Who else would like to try it? You have all the pieces. We're just putting together the Legos. Yes.
We help customers who need to translate their media content and communications so that they can reach international audiences and markets.
Okay. Again, be more specific. And so if you go back to the customer.
Customers, corporations as well as the media production. Media content producers.
Okay, so start again from the top.
Okay, we help
Media
content producers as well as corporations and multinationals who need to translate their media content and their communication so that they can reach international audiences and markets.
Okay. My suggestion is find a gain creator, like go one step deeper. So like the so what. So they're reaching international markets so that
they can sell, reach billions instead of millions in sales.
That's great. That reaches me. Okay. All right. Yes.
Question. If you're selling a product versus a service, can you do like the action verb, like you provide the insert product, like you tailor it versus like, it's not like these, because like then it's not really saying what product you're selling.
Yeah, and you can do this for a product. So do you have an idea in mind?
Like let's say it's like we sell reusable, like supplies,
yes.
tubes, and then
yeah.
you want sentences.
And I would say, what do these reusable makeup supplies, what is the gain creator or the pain reliever? Yeah, exactly. So we inspire environmentally conscious consumers who are looking for more sustainable products to contribute to a greener earth. So how do you feel, like what resonated with you when I said that? Yeah. And actually, and it's sort of interesting because you have an opportunity to say it 3 times here.
Yeah.
So environmentally conscious, who want to save the earth. Exactly, and that's what you want to do. And this is where working with somebody to help you make it sing through repetition or rhyming or the rhythm of it, and it just becomes something that just rolls off the tongue. Who else wants to test it? Yes.
Yeah, I have a problem because my job to be done. Oh, job to be done.
Yes.
Sorry, I was looking at the wrong thing. Oh yeah, job to be done is the same as the, anyway.
Let's test it.
I like you, the way you phrased it, we at Harvest Performance, I have either empower
Okay.
global nonprofits, I have to be
Mhm.
specific and I'm not sure what that is, who needs to increase funding and exposure
Yeah.
in order to
Mm-hmm.
impact social entrepreneurism or
Yes.
do more with less.
Or to be more effective in their mission.
Okay.
And because these kinds of nonprofits, their job to be done is they want to live their mission.
That's right.
And what's the gain? Well, they're making a difference, but they're also attracting more funding. What's the pain? If they don't do it, then they lose funding
Or they close.
or they close.
Yeah.
So and you can test different ones here. You could say to be more effective in the mission, so you're going up
Right.
in the value chain,
Okay.
or if you want to go down, or to make sure that you become sustainable and live for a long time, which is more around survival. So you can play with these
In order to.
and to find what resonates. One more example? Yes.
So we make women over 30 feel much more confident and good-looking by decreasing their wrinkles in a natural way in order to look younger and be good to the environment.
Okay. Yeah, and what I like is specific target customer, and that really resonated with me. So the women over 30, and you might want to even test to see what age brackets work. Do people respond between 30 and 40, or 40 and 50? You know, and this is just about testing it. So I encourage you when you go to networking events or just talking to people, is to test to see. And over time, you'll find the sequence that works. I personally like more descriptive action verbs than just we help or we
Yeah.
support. I'm still working on for the Scale Up project, which is my new company that I'm building. So this is what I came up with so far. The Scale Up project helps new innovation-driven ventures to enter and dominate their first market by reducing risk and improving the ability to execute. It's a little bit wordy for me. I'm still working on trying to find what's the essence of it, and I definitely want to change the word help. I've tried enables, empowers, support. So, and after a while you'll find the right combination. But this is how we started. We started with the Scale Up project for an initial value proposition. Yes.
Can I have more than one?
Yes, definitely, because if I'm speaking to a CEO, I'm going to insert target customer here, I'm going to say the word CEO. If I'm talking to an investor, I'm going to say, we help the businesses that you invested to blah, 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 blah. And then, so if I have a different target customer, there's probably a different job to be done. But the beauty of this process then becomes that I can quickly size up the situation and fit the formula. The formula works. I encourage you to stick to the formula. The more you go away from the formula, the less powerful your value proposition. And the danger is falling back into describing what you do. People don't care what you do. They don't give a hoot about what you do. Most people, they're neutral or they hate what you do. But they love the impact that you can create for them. And that's what you're trying to find here. You're trying to find those words to create that impact. So that's what these questions in the value proposition are all around, helping you create a stronger value proposition statement. And the biggest mistake I see in these canvases is people do a big list of their features here. I don't care that you have brakes. I don't care that you have an on-off switch. I don't care that you're AI-powered, multimodal big data, kind of gizmo. No. What is the benefit? How does what you offer make my life 10 times better? And if you cannot demonstratively make your customer's life 10 times better, figure out how to do that. Because you have to have an overwhelming advantage. And so when you're finding your value proposition and you find that overwhelming advantage, that's when you're going to find that all of a sudden you have people calling you out of the blue. Because now the message that you're putting out there is sort of finding its way to those customers who recognize the value that you're offering and who are ready to buy. And that's who you want to deal with. We made it. We talked about what is a business, finding the right place, right time, right fit, looking at the business model canvas and focusing in on the value proposition. Everybody now knows what at least one job that their customer wants to be done. How does your offer fit their need? And you have a value proposition statement. How does it feel? How does it feel? What is the change in your mindset over the last hour and a half? What have you discovered? Focus. What else?
Clarity.
Clarity.
A purpose.
A purpose, yes. How do you feel inside when you think of your value proposition statement? What's your energy like right now? Yes, yes, exactly. And that's what you want to communicate to your customer. And this goes back to that excellent question you had. Instead of fake it till you make it, it's about say it until you feel it. And so that's what you're doing. You're describing the emotion that your customer is going to have, and then that's what you're going to be able to create with your customer. What other insights did you get going through this?
More confidence.
More confidence, yes.
And know how and where I can reach my target customer.
That's it. And that's what defining your target customer as precisely as possible. And you'll probably have 5 or 6 different personas, and you'll learn how to recognize those people and how to describe. So that means, yes, you'll have 5 or 6 different value proposition statements. You'll have 5 or 6 variants of your business model canvas. Yes.
So it's interesting because you can say, when people ask you what you do, now you can say this. So that's a visual of I'm at a networking event or whatever. But how can we take this now and put it on the website? How can we take this and use it everywhere? Like the same.
Exactly the same
use
thing.
It in the same words.
Exactly, and that should be your value proposition statement should be the first thing they see on your website, because then those people who are interested in tell me more. That's what you want to have. You want people to say, yeah, this sounds cool. Tell me more. Tell me more. Then they'll stay on your website longer. If I have to go through a bunch of words and click on the mission page to find your mission, your purpose, your values, and then way down there is the value proposition statement, I'm not going to stay that long.
I guess my question is, I've got one I'm redesigning the website.
Yeah.
So I've got one on the front, but I have 5 different personas that you get when you choose who you are. So, I'm just trying to understand how
I'm going to say something that SEOs, search engine optimizers are going to hate.
Okay.
If you have 5 different personas, you have 5 different websites. Websites are cheap. Okay, and each website will be optimized to get those clients who recognize. And so one will be blue because that persona likes blue. Another one will be pink. Another one will be in English. Another one will be in Italian. Another one will be in French. These bilingual sites I hate. Do an English site that's optimized in English. Do a French site that's optimized in French. They're 2 different personas, 2 different buying patterns, 2 different jobs to be done. And yes, there is a big difference selling to Chicoutimi or selling to Kirkland. So very, very different ways of approaching. So now, again, SEO people hate me for that, but I believe that.
I've seen websites when it's more for IT and technical product, but the value proposition and right after is, are you a developer,
That's what I'm.
a CTO,
Yes.
or a CIO?
Yeah, that's brilliant. That's another great way of doing it. And so you're presenting the information to help that persona make their decision. And their buying decision is based on, if we go back, is based on this. This is what they're looking for. So if I'm trying to reach the developer, developers don't care about saving money, but they definitely care about having more stronger code or whatever it is, you know. So whatever their gain creator or pain reliever they're looking for. So if you only remember one thing, what is it? So everybody read this.
People don't want your products and services. They want to change your products and services to create for them.
Okay. Exactly. Please talk in terms of impact, in terms of gain creators, pain relievers. Think of how am I either an aspirin or I am a beer, you know, whatever, or candy. But and if you're looking for investors, they will ask you, how are you an aspirin? How are you a pain reliever? Or how are you a gain creator? They will talk in that language to you. And that's what they don't care about your product. They care about the impact that you're going to create on the market. So what we've looked at so far in this two-part series is finding that hook. And I don't really like the idea of hook because we're not tricking anybody, but it's more finding that attractor. Okay, finding the magnet. And in 2 weeks, Sovita, or is it next week? Next week, yes, next week. Sovita's going to present part 2, and I'll be here too in the back of the room. And what she's going to be talking about is how do you find those ideal customers? And how do you test some of the ideas that we talked about today? And so if you're not already signed up, I encourage you to sign up. Super, so we'll see all of you next week. And unfortunately, Sovita cannot make it tonight, but she says hello. So Sovita, if you're on the video, hello. And this is how you can reach me. I encourage you to connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn, on Facebook. So if you type in Coach Davender, you'll find me on those. I used to have a profile on Twitter, but I'm on a Twitter strike right now. And I have some boring pictures on Pinterest, so don't go there. But I'm very active on LinkedIn, and so if you want to connect on LinkedIn, that's where you'll find me. I respond to most of the messaging systems. And I would love to have, if you have questions, comments, or share with me your value proposition statement. And that's all I need to know. I don't need to know the name of your company or anything like that. Just say, Davender, what does this mean to you? So share with me your value proposition statement, and I'll give you some quick feedback on it, and I'd love to do that. The slides are available, and they're also available on SlideShare. I just put them up there. The video from this session is eventually going to be on my YouTube channel, and again is available through by emailing YES. And I'd really like to thank YES Montreal for this great opportunity. This is my first workshop with YES, and I hope you've enjoyed it too.